Marker Reviews. Today you can see me struggle with Adobe Premiere Pro for the first time. Big learning curve, but hopefully it steps up some of the production value for you guys, the viewer. Obviously that's kind of the end state, is make the best product I can for those watching. So you'll learn as I'm learning. I may be a millennial, but I'm probably the worst millennial out there when it comes to computers and tech, so it's been a real struggle. So far I've spent about 4 hours trying to figure out how to get any kind of normal editing done. This is not intuitive like the Mac iMovie was, so hopefully you can appreciate the product today. I'm going down and going to be discussing a long-term watch that I've had now for coming up on about a year. It's the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36. Got it originally, kind of coming up on a year now, so it was around May or so of 2020, so kind of the peak of the coronavirus pandemic, that whole nonsense, and I happened to be blessed, living in Florida. I was sitting on the beach at the time just kind of browsing what the local watch shop had in their inventory, and I came across this at a pretty attractive price, and essentially headed over to the retailer and began the process of buying my first Rolex. So had it now for quite some time. This is not a watch I wear frequently, so I've been making a point now to give it some wrist time and give it the attention it more or less deserves. So what do I think after having it for about a year now? Well, the watch, as I mentioned in my first review, super dynamic. This watch blends to the environment more than anything else I've ever seen. Let me put up a couple of videos and kind of really stress this point. A trip around the dial will do nothing but confirm what you can see under this macro lens. This is a watch with an incredible attention to detail. Perfection can only describe what you view under the macro lens. Perfection is not a term you'd use to describe my cinematography, though. Can I get this watch in focus? Can I steady my hand? I don't think an answer will ever come there. But if you're looking for an answer on is this a watch that you can trust to have just the highest quality of Swiss manufacturing, well, I think the answer is absolutely yes. Look at the second hand as it ticks. Look at the solid white gold indices with applied superluminova, the coronet, the Rolex repeat going around the inside of the dial. This is a beautiful watch. The sunburst just picks up the local ambient lighting and displays it in a way which you do not normally see on a typical watch. This is something that's dynamic, it's special, and it changes in any environment you see. It's something that I could highly recommend, and until you actually experience the steel dial, you're not going to have a way of appreciating it. I hope you enjoy. This watch can most easily be described by one word, and that's sleeper. And for those of you who are into cars or the automotive industry, you know what I'm talking about. A sleeper is much like this Mercedes-Benz C63 AMG wagon. It's a car that your average Joe or driver has absolutely no idea could absolutely tear the quarter-mile apart. It's a car that can just destroy the Nürburgring, and that's kind of similar to this Oyster Perpetual 36. This is a watch that, to somebody who's not into watches, looks no different than your average Seiko or, quartz watch on wrist. And that's a good thing. I mean, to me, when I wear a watch, particularly a watch that's as valuable as this one, I like to wear it for me, not really for anyone else. And if you're into something flashy, and if you want something that screams I'm wearing a Rolex, the Oyster Perpetual 36 is not for you. But if you're a discerning individual who wants to have a watch that's built to the utmost quality while maintaining true to the heritage of the brand that is Rolex, this absolutely nails it. If I can expand on this idea, this is a watch that you could wear to the beach. I most recently wore it to Key West. By the way, here's my dog again, popping in to say hello. So I wore this watch to Key West recently, and it has no issues as something you can wear onto the beach. You can take it into the water. You can essentially dive with it. And it's also a watch you can wear with a tuxedo. This is a true one watch collection watch. Not that that's, what I have. This is a wildly accurate watch. It's within 1 second fast or slow per day. I don't really check it outside of, a couple of weeks here or there. And I'm never really having to modify the time more than 3 or 4 seconds. It's reliable. It's a workhorse of a movement. I've played golf with the watch. I've smacked it into things like I do pretty much any watch. I mean, reference the Omega Seamaster video I have. I've accidentally cracked the dial of that watch because I don't baby the watches I wear. I believe there's something to be worn and enjoyed. And this watch is no exception. Despite its dainty appearance, it is robust. It's tough. It's a watch that you can take and enjoy fully in your life's activities. And it should be used that way. That's what it's designed to be done. The Oyster Perpetual 36 is perhaps one of the least enjoyed Rolexes out there amongst the watch community, but if you're considering it, I could not highly recommend it more. It's a substantial watch that definitely punches above its price point, at least in the Rolex line. Some similar alternatives amongst Omega might be providing higher technology perhaps, or, a more advanced metallurgy with the titaniums or whatnot, but the Oyster Perpetual 36, this is the gold standard of watches, and until you fully experience it, I don't think there's anything else that could be similar amongst the entire catalog of watches today.